Good afternoon, everyone. Good morning and good evening to some of you if you are also attending from other time zone. My name is Muhammad Zakir Hussain. I will be the host of this webinar. And I'm actually working with Asian Institute of Technology, currently working as a senior program specialist at AIT Extension of Asian Institute of Technology. As you know, this is another online webinar session from AIT Extension on respectful workplace. And today we have with our distinguished speaker, Dr. Shahadat Choudhury from Sydney, Australia. So before going forward, let me just inform you a couple of things in order to participate in this webinar. As you know, you will have the opportunity to ask questions and raise your queries in this webinar. So we have two options for that. During the webinar, of course, when our speaker will start speaking, you can raise your hand or you can actually write your question in the Q&A box. We also have the chat box open. So if you have any other issues or you like to ask your question in the chat box, you can also feel free to put your question in the chat box. So this webinar will be roughly 1 hour long. We will start with a welcome remarks from our Executive Director, Mr. Voravet Chonlasin. Followed by that, I will introduce our speaker today, Dr. Shahadat Choudhury, and then Dr. Shahadat Choudhury will be allowed to speak or start his session, which will be roughly around 30 to 35 minutes. And as I said, during the talk, you can raise your hands, you can ask questions, but if you would like to ask at the end, please keep your question and keep writing your question for the end. So after he finishes speaking, we will go to the Q&A session, and during that session, we'll have 10 minutes maximum probably for the Q&A, question and answer. And then finally, we will go for the concluding remarks and vote of thanks. I think with that, let me welcome our Executive Director, Mr. Voravet Chonlasin, to say a few words and welcome everyone for this webinar on respectful workplace. Over to you, Mr. Voravet.
Thank you, Dr. Saki. Good afternoon from Thailand. And also, I have to say that this is now good evening to Dr. Shahadat Choudhury. I guess now in Sydney, in Australia, is close to 7 p.m. We have different online and live seminar sessions that related to organization cultures. And if you remember, Dr. Shahadat Choudhury already came to one of the sessions already that related to the skill, the people skill working in the workplace. And this is the second time that we have Dr. Choudhury here to share his practical experience working with organization. After he graduated from AIT, he worked in Australia for many years. So with his experience and his exposure to the organization in Australia and also organization cultures and also people environments in Australia, Dr. Shahadat has brought very interesting and important knowledge to you all. I believe that this is something that we can also apply to any organizations. When we are working with international environments and multinational environments, this knowledge and this skill set is very important. So let me welcome all of you, and I thanks to Dr. Shahadat Choudhury by having us time today to share your experience. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Achan Voravet Chonlasin. So now it is my duty to actually introduce Dr. Shahadat Choudhury a little bit. I think from the webinar flyer or the information that we have shared for the registered participants and also for the people probably joining first time, you have already information about him, but I'd like to probably just reread a couple of points about him. So Dr. Shahadat Choudhury is originally a Bangladeshi-born Australian. I think he has studied in a very distinguished academic institution. He started his bachelor from Bangladesh University of Engineering and Technology, which is the premier institution for engineering education in Bangladesh, for his bachelor degree. Then he came to Asian Institute of Technology in 1980s. He did his Master of Engineering in Water Resource Engineering from AIT, and then he moved to Australia. I think within that period of time, he has also worked a couple of years in Bangladesh and also with AIT in Thailand before moving to Australia. Of course, he moved to Australia for his higher education, where he did his PhD before he started working with the Australian government. So the first thing that I like to talk about him is Dr. Shahadot has worked more than 30 plus years for the government of New South Wales. At the leadership role at the moment, he's serving for the state's water resource management capacity with the leadership role, of course. I think other than that, what are the very notable things that I like to mention about Dr. Shahadot is within these 30 plus years of serving with Australian government, very interesting thing about Dr. Shahadot is he was a city councillor, actually elected city councillor for the Parramatta City Council, which is the second largest city after Sydney. And he was there for 2012 to 2016. So he has served as a city councillor for 4 years, where his main role was to guide the administrators of the city council on how to use the budget for the city council's different activities. So that was one of his notable job during his initial period of time in Australia. Another notable job that Dr. Shahadot has been doing, I think until now, is he has been serving for the Scout of Australia. And right now, it has been almost 35 years that Dr. Shahadot is with Scout of Australia. He has actually achieved the prestigious Silver Arrowhead medal from the Governor General of Australia for his long-standing service with the Scout of Australia. Scout of Australia is the place where Dr. Shahadot has also received a couple of his leadership training. And then the last one that I probably like to speak about Dr. Shahadot is he has also worked, other than government, of course, he has also worked for academia and in different capacities like teaching with the University of New South Wales. And also he has been attached with research and consulting, not only in Australia, but also some countries in Southeast Asia. For example, he has also been working with AIT. Currently, he has been also become one of our consultants for doing some of our research project in the region. So with that, I like to bring him into this talk, which is the respectful workplace, and his attachment with the institution where he's serving as staff union delegate since 2017. He has been actually advocating for his workmates since 2017, and which includes the grievance arising in the workplace, disrespect such as bullying, harassment, and discrimination, and all sort of issues that actually the workmates are facing in his organizations. He has actually all those experiences that are relevant to his talk, and this is one of the reasons actually we have talked and we have decided to request him to actually deliver today's talk, which is actually a respectful workplace, which we believe and we understand is a very important topic for any working space or any working office or any working institution or organization. So with that, I think I like to now welcome Dr. Shahadot Choudhury to introduce little more if I have missed anything, Dr. Shahadot, and then of course you can start your session. Before going to Dr. Shahadot to open his session, I'd like to once again remind all of our participants, please write your question and queries in the chat box and the Q&A box if you have any, or if you can hold it until the end of his talk, that would be also great. But in case during his talk, if you have anything, please feel free to raise your hand or keep writing in the chat box or in the Q&A box. With that, Dr. Shahadot, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very much. You can see my slides, am I right? First slide is up there. Good, thank you.
Yes.
And you can hear me? Good. Thank you very much for that kind introduction, Dr. Zakir Hussain. And I also acknowledge the presence of Mr. Voravet Chonla Sain, a very busy person. He's leading AIT Extension, and thank you very much to make time to be in this session. And overall, obviously, thanks for all the participants. Look, I may not have very good view because I'm fiddling with two screen. So if there is any question, anything that need my attention, please draw that attention. Otherwise, we'll go through the slides. About myself, and this evening, I'm coming from Sydney right now, talking to you from here. I've been working for the government of New South Wales for the last 30 years. I just picked a few points that is relevant for today's talk, and some of this kindly Dr. Zakir already mentioned, but let me repeat it again. For obviously the last 30 years, I started from junior graduate engineer to where I am right now. So in terms of organization-wise, I notice how the things and respect and environment evolve when you are junior to when you're in a senior role. So I've seen in a different perspective. Also, I've seen over time, 30 years is a long time. Over time, people's values and culture and everything do change everywhere in the world. So did in Australia as well. So how that has changed. So I've noticed that. Second one is as a councillor in Parramatta City Council. Obviously, it's an elected role, but you're leading a whole a big economy there. How the dynamics works there. So I absorbed something from there. I was commissioner for Scouts for 15 years at least, and got obviously was mentioned 35 years decoration. That's again another interesting place. That is actually group of volunteers. How do you interact there? But I think one of the very pointed one that is relevant for today's talk is I've been union delegate advocating for staff for last 6 years. So any things like disputes, conflicts, grievances, problems that the staff when they feel, I go with them to help them as their representative and look at their case and help negotiate on their behalf, sometimes together to resolve those things. So I have some view what happened in terms of respect of that related issues within workplace, or if things goes wrong, say like harassment and other things, that how an organization deals with it. Now the last thing is my degree. The reason I put it up there is the relevancy there is I've got lucky enough to have 3 degrees in 3 countries. So I have seen the university academia in Bangladesh, I've seen in Thailand and in Australia. So again, in 3 different locations and how these things works. So this all gave me the idea, and the thing that I'll be talking today would be mainly based on or influenced by my experience through this exposure. Now, these sessions are really good, should be run face-to-face over maybe half a day, not within 1 hour, not even half an hour sessions. And actually it would be much better to debate among ourselves, discuss and come with some views and learn from each other. But maybe that is not possible, obviously, on online Zoom session. But the way we could do that is we can use this, what we call Slido.com, that software or app, and then we can probably try to interact. So I'm sure everybody got a smartphone in their pocket right now. May I ask you to get that phone out and type Slido.com, and on there you can use this hashtag 2921731 to enter. So that way we can discuss and there'll be some question and answer. Now, I like to put a warning before starting that the material today I'll be presenting is culturally sensitive. People may be uncomfortable. It may sometime, I'll be presenting around 10 simulated case studies and the 4 real ones. as an example of respect or disrespect in the workplace. Most of you probably in somewhere in Southeast Asia, which is at least 9,000 miles from where I am now. So I'm trying to say that there's no way it is reflecting of what is happening at your workplace. It is not that I'm trying to indirectly tell anything to anyone. So if there is some accidental match, that is at least it is accidental or just probably coincidence. So please don't take any offense or anything more than that. There will be around 30 slides today. I'll try my best to be within time. As I said, that these are much very deep, wider topic. Hopefully you'll enjoy that. So let's see the Slido first, how it is going. So if you haven't done that, if you're in front of a computer, please you can scan that QR code. That will take you to my Slido app. That will talk about that, and or simply in your browser, whether you are Safari or any browser in your phone or in your computer. If you're in front of a computer right now, try slido.com and enter that number 2921731. That will take you to to where we are now. So let's see. I like to see whether we are able to do this. If you do that, can you please type which country you have done your first degree from? Yeah, 2% are typing, which is very good. There's a reason of this question. First degree people do probably within the first 20 years or 22, 24 years of their life. But that is the time we learn about our behavior, our thinking, our culture, our values are actually molded within that first 20 years of our life. For example, if you have grown up in a place, in a family, for example, where you saw that your father was very strong character, the way he controls is always he'll shout at you, strongly talking about it, things to get directions, then chances are when you will be father yourself or you'll be a manager of a company, you will run exactly the same way because he thought that that's the way to do things. So first, as I said, the first 20 years of a life probably is important how we start our thinking and our biases. Looks like the Bangladesh is coming in a very big way. Out of 9 people that entered their Slido name. Yes, understandably Thailand. There are people from Myanmar, India, Philippines. I can see around 23 participants here, but only 9 probably choose to join a Slido. I would say please join there. It is very easy. Type slido.com and hashtag 2921731. That way you can get in there easily. Yes, there are more people from Thailand. So mostly from Bangladesh, second probably Thailand, and some from Myanmar, India, and Philippines. Good. So this is giving an idea of where you are from, and we're testing a Slido. Let's get into this. Respect. What does that mean? It means treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Simple. Let's take it a bit more one step further. Respect means to accept somebody for who they are, even when you disagree. This is another higher level. When you disagree with someone and to accept that is a harder thing. So that's a respect. Now let's go to the dictionary, say what actually really they mean by respect is an Oxford Dictionary, due regard for the feeling of others. Again, these are interrelated. So this is actually a general term of respect. When it comes to workplace, they'll be much more specific than this. Respectful workplace. What we'll do today, we'll go with three items. Why, what, and how. First is why a respectful workplace is important. I'll look a couple of slides. And then what are the attributes of respectful workplace? Unless you know that, then you'll not know where you stand. So I'll spend most of the time, what are the attributes of a respectful workplace in today's talk. More half of the thing will be spent there. And towards the end, we'll discuss how can a respectful workplace be achieved. So what, why, what, and how. Why respect is important. I think everybody over here will expect that this is important. Otherwise, you would not probably come and listen to today's webinar. A respectful workplace is healthy and productive. It enhances engagement and it increased innovation and high job satisfaction. So, and also employer of choice. So those who are high value employee, good skilled one, who can choose, they'll choose a respectful workplace over the one that is the other one, the toxic or dysfunctional workplace. If it is toxic and dysfunctional, what happens? The morale will be low. People will not be engaged. They'll do their only one thing, their own thing, own little project. There'll be no collaboration, high absenteeism, turnover, and also no one like to work for them. And also what happened, there'll be costly litigation and embarrassment for the organization itself if it is the environment is not good. There will be a few examples in my following slide. All of these attributes have got very good statistics and academic research behind it, which I don't want to present now for sake of timing, but these all are very well established. One of the article published in Forbes about 10 years ago, they found that the 5 things that employees look at when they decide which company they should work for. Out of the 5 things, one of the main thing is respect. See, number 3 is respect. Stability, compensation means salary, which you all know. We have to pay good salary to keep people. Respect is one of the important things. Health benefit is also part of salary. Work-life balance, obviously, is a certain hour of working. So respect is, you can see, is important. Let's go with why first. I give you an example here first. Women talk too much and that meetings with many female board directors would take a lot of time. What do you think about that statement? Someone made that statement actually, and who was there and what happened to him? Isn't it normally people say it is quite common to make fun, especially men say this statement? It was made by Yoshihiro Mori, Prime Minister of Japan, former Prime Minister. He was then president of Tokyo 2020 Olympics. He just said that, and what happened? A lot of women took offense to this statement. There's a lot of protest and pressure. At the end of the day, the Tokyo 2020 Olympics committee became embarrassed so much that he needed to resign, and he resigned just for that statement. Okay, next one. Les Moore, the former CEO of CBS Corporation, he resigned. He had to resign in 2018. You know why? Because of a sexual harassment allegation. And as a part of that allegation, CBS needs to pay $28 million and Les to pay $2.5 million mostly to shareholders because they concealed that allegation. They didn't, because it was affecting the company, the valuation. There could be a big litigation. It's big money and big embarrassment for a company. And it was a CEO who was involved. So this is another example that why we make sure that our workplace is clean. Women's Football World Cup. The game has just happened not very far from my place, around 12 kilometers where I'm just talking right now. FIFA Women's World Cup Championship. I think most of you watched it. Millions of people were watching that. England versus Spain. Spain won 1-0. People are excited. Obviously, winning a World Cup championship, obviously a very exciting thing. And Spain is only one of the 2 countries which has got both male World Cup championship and female, and this is a female team. So who should be very much excited? Obviously, the players and the coach, and probably the chief of the football, their football federation, right? But what happened? Because after 21 days, rather than celebrating, the president, Luis Rubiales, he needed to resign. Just 21 days after that huge win that he delivered to his team. What happened? This is what happened on the Sydney Stadium. As I said, just not very far from here, from where I am, and maybe you all have watched this as well. If you watched the World Cup game, excitement, everyone was taking medals and hugging and kissing, and this is one of the kissing picture there. And for that, he was criticized heavily. He was actually accused of sexual harassment and disrespect. And finally, first he said no, it was in front of everyone. We're happy. I'll go a bit more in this case later on. But what I'm trying to say that he needed to resign. So these things are serious. What you're watching in front of you is a little joke that is forwarded by Bordesley Green Police at West Midlands in Birmingham in UK. So the Bordesley Green is a police district, and this is their official Twitter account, which is X account now, the Twitter account. So one of the officers, by jokingly, he put the look, there's a new seatbelt where wives cannot talk too much next to you, and then that reduces the accident. And he said, I want one. Very funny, is it? But what happened? The whole UK, a lot of women took offense that if police has got this sort of attitude, then what will happen to normal people about sexual harassment? And this actually went up till even criticized up to South Africa. So finally, this police officer needed to apologize. So you can see the examples I'm giving. This is not all of them are quite new, like 2020, which is only 3 years ago, 2018 and 14, maybe within 10 years. And the Spanish football just last week, just last month, less than a month. So, but these are quite topical about why respectful workplace is important. Otherwise, you get into this sort of trouble. Now, let's, as I said, most of the time, maybe I'll be spending rather than why, what? What are the attributes? So a respectful workplace is free from 4 things. We need to remember what are the 4 things: bullying, discrimination, harassment, and victimization. At first, when you read it, okay, these all are some bad things or disaster, it looks like that. But let me go through one by one. That way you can very clearly see what constitutes what and what we should avoid. I go through a case study now. Julia is the youngest and only female among a 7-person team. Robert shouts across the room to Julia about work. He frequently stands staring at her computer screen. Julia misses lunch often as Robert sends last-minute corrections. Her confidence drops and performance declines. Once the team went out to dinner to celebrate without her, Julia complained. Robert explained that the dinner involved alcohol and cabarets that Julia might find inappropriate. What's happening here? I give you a second to think about it. Is Robert correct? That's right, the dinner with alcohol, maybe she's only female. Was Robert is helping Julia in her work, or what's going on here? Hold your thought. There'll be a slide or question and answer. Maybe we can answer there. Second one. Tony belittles Victoria in her absence. Victoria is Tony's manager. Tony disrupts meeting by always challenging her project plan. He tells his colleagues that Victoria got the manager job instead of him due to her good look. He does not follow instructions and works to his own plans. Victoria calls Tony for a performance evaluation. Tony accuses Victoria of bullying. Now, who is bully here? Victoria is the manager, right? Tony is working under Victoria. Can Tony be a bully? Because Victoria is a senior. And in Victoria is calling Tony for evaluation. Is that a bullying? Because probably Victoria is not unhappy, right? So what is going on here? So what we'll do, these 2 case study, I'll look at it in the Slido. If you could again get your phone ready and see what is your opinions are and thinking. So if you look at your phone, number A, you can choose multiple things and then we can go from there. Number A is close supervision is good for learning. Julia should see the positive side. Is that you think what it is? If you like, and choose that. B, Robert is not respectful to young Julia. C, Tony cannot be a bully as he is under Victoria. A, okay, probably A, D, B, C. Okay, probably I shuffle it later on. Okay, Robert is not respectful for young Julia. And the last one is Tony cannot be bully as he is under Victoria. I'll give you a few seconds and then we will think about this case study and we'll go to that. 4 people participated. I need a bit more people. More people, please put more. About 5 people are looking at it. Because the more if you came late, just use that QR code on the left on your phone to get into Slido. That way you can probably put your opinion there on your phone. It is really interesting that we are different part of the world, but we can interact. 7, 8 people doing it. Look, what was happening there? Okay, while you are doing it, yes, most of the people is probably on the same page. As I said, some of these are not really very clear, right and wrong. Depends on which part of the world you are and what sort of culture and what is acceptable, not acceptable, probably sometime it varies. But now slowly in the global workplace, maybe it is very similar expectations. It is correct. Robert is not respectful for young Julia. That part is very clear. The way he was dealing with Julia as if Julia is his little sister. But no, in workplace is no such thing, little sister or old brother. It is actually a working relationship and he was not respectful and he was repeatedly harassing her. Company is wrong. Tony's reaction is reasonable. Someone look like choose that. I would say that company may be wrong. Company may choose something, but that is nothing to do with Victoria. When someone get a job, whatever they want, it is actually the responsibility is the director or the head of the company appointing. And if you're unhappy with that appointment, you should go and talk to the head, whoever, but you cannot take it up onto the person who is starting a job. Then that is actually bullying. So company may be wrong, but Tony's reaction is not reasonable. Closest subordinate good for learning. Say it is true, but in this case, I would say that no, it is not up to Julia to see the positive side. It is up to Robert to behave properly, because Robert is not being respectful. Tony cannot be a bully as he is under Victoria. That is probably bit out of date. Nowadays, we say workplace structure is more democratic and dynamic. So if you are employee below, but if you show a certain attributes, then that's probably not helpful. Someone wrote in a C and D, neither correct. C and D, that's correct answer. Yeah. Let's move on. Let's see actually what I'm trying to see with that. Actually, that is an example of bullying. Bullying is repeated unreasonable behavior that creates a risk to safety, including psychological, and it can be obvious or subtle. A number of things can be bullying, but as long as if it is done repeatedly all the time, that is called bullying. Remember in school year, normally there were bullies who will always probably push you, push the younger, weaker boys, or snatch their lunch. That is school year. But in the workplace, probably no one pushes anyone. However, workplace safety is mainly psychological. There could be psychological pressure and things like that happen. Belating, humiliating, shouting, these all are, if it happen all the time, it's bullying. Now, respectful work direction or performance management is not bullying. So when Victoria called Tony for performance management, there's a manager, she can do that. She can sit down and say, oh, let's evaluate your work. So that is not a bullying. And another thing, a technical thing, one of unacceptable event is harassment, not bullying. If someone become angry, said something only one time, that's not bullying. That is still unacceptable, but in a different criteria. Let's look at next thing. Siriluk is a photocell engineer in a large farm. She has a 3-year-old son. Her farm decides to expand its business in solar panel production. However, the director sent Supat to China for training and chose him to lead the expansion. Supat is not an engineer. Siriluk is unhappy. The director explained that the project is very important. He is afraid that Siriluk will be pregnant with her second child in the future. That's why he didn't take her. Do you agree? I'll let you think about it, and let's move to next one. Raj consistently hits his sales record and wins performance bonus. He has been working for 15 years in the company. His team leader resigns. Raj thinks he is ready to step up. Instead, his manager appoints Lakshmi directly. She is young, less experienced, and has poor sales record. His manager explains that the company is planning to expand to online business with a new software. A young person like Lakshmi will be more suitable. The company does not want to invest training an older employee. Is that appointment proper? I'll let you think about it. Let's move to third one. Anthony is a manager of 20 employees. He advocates a fair and respectful workplace. The team goes out for annual dinner when the main meal is a chicken curry. Indira is a vegetarian. She complains. Anthony explains that he follows the company policy of equal treatment by ordering the same menu for all. Is Anthony correctly applying company rules? What do you think? So all three in front of you. What is actually a pattern here? What is happening is in the first one, there is no slide about this one is, Siriluk is being discriminated because she's a young woman, childbearing age. She's called, could be young mother. Raj is discriminated because he's an old person, and as if he, without any, they took Lakshmi without any proper process. And Anthony, I'll come to that later. Let's go to the next slide. When someone is treated unfairly because of an attribute they have or assume to have or have associated with, that is discrimination. Say someone is old, maybe disability, gender or religion, sexuality. Again, different country got different laws. Some of these are protected by law in some countries that you have to, you are allowed to discriminate, or other way around, you are not allowed to discriminate, but some country no. Race, in some country, there are some protected race. Again, I'm giving general things, political view, or other job unrelated attributes. If the attribute is not related to job, you should not use that If you use that, that's discrimination. So job-related attribute, maybe I can say that you like to employ a cleaner for a female toilet. That probably needs to be a female. So you can discriminate probably a male from that job because that is a attribute that job requires. Now, next one is equal treatment means fair treatment, not the same treatment. That's what in other example, Anthony made the mistake by ordering chicken curry for everyone. Yes, it is equal treatment, but equal treatment is not my equality in outcome. It is equality in outcome, not exactly what you are doing. Outcome is everybody should have a proper lunch. And out of that, if Indira is a vegetarian, chicken curry is not, she cannot eat it. So it is not a clear outcome. So in that case, actually, Anthony is not applying the company rules properly. Selective application of law is unfair. That is also discrimination. I'll come to that in some later example. So this is what discrimination is. Sharif is a bright expatriate economist. He works for World Bank in Washington, D.C. His new boss, Jasmine, starts praising his work, his clothing, his perfume. Sharif feels uncomfortable. He politely says that he needs to phone his wife and son in Dhaka. Jasmine is ignoring subtle refusal. She is giving unimportant tasks that keeps Sharif alone late at office. Jasmine has been asking him out for dinner afterwards. Sharif needs his job and unsure of his options. It's a very difficult one, isn't it? If there's an untoward advance towards you, and you cannot say, if you say something, you may lose your job and you are in this sort of relationship. What to do? Who is at fault? Should Sharif be more clear about him? Or is it fine because Jasmine is just indirectly approaching? Sharif can always say no. Next one, Ajay Singh is a new security guard. His job is to check identity before allowing any staff to access the office. He stops Amanda from entering the office as she forgot her identity card. Amanda is the CEO of the company. She is running late. She threatens to sack Ajay and pushes her way into the office. Amanda says that girls with turbans are dumb, with no respect. Isn't it? Yeah, it is difficult. She's a CEO. She needs to go to office, and this new staff working and stopped her from entering. She probably will be angry. Is she right? Has it right her angry? Should Ajay be courteous to allow Ajanta into the office, or Amanda? And the last comment by Amanda, what do you think about that? Is it acceptable? This is just a simple joke. Sometimes we forward in the office. Someone said that today, for some reason, the restaurant downstairs is closed, and then he quickly sent this joke to his comic that be nice to your wife. Restaurants are closed, so otherwise you'll not get food today. So what's happening here? Let's get to slide again. We are running out of time, but these sessions are quite important. Unless we do some brainstorming, sometime we can do that. Please, if you Sharif did not openly reject, so Jasmine is not to blame, right? Jasmine is indirectly probably is interested about Sharif, and then is that correct? B, Jasmine is misusing her power and is wrong. What do you think? C, Ajay disrespected CEO Amanda and made her late. Then Sharif did not openly reject. Jasmine is not to blame. And Ajay, okay, the wife joke is mild, okay, among colleagues, improves bonding. And Ajay was just applying rule. Amanda was disrespectful. Jasmine is 3% only. I need a bit more, few more. Please look at your mobile and I like to see your views. How do you think? These are really interesting. As I say, if you're face to face, maybe I could make more twisted examples so we can keep debating some of these. Here, the examples are a bit simple because difficult to do face to face. 6 people are participating. Again, we cannot actually interactively discuss and debate this thing, but let me share. Yes, everybody probably got it right. Jasmine is misusing her power and is wrong. That's very true. And Ajay was applying rule. Amanda was disrespectful. That's correct. The wife joke is mild. Okay, among colleagues, improves bonding. This one is a bit of out of date thinking, because if you see the initial those slides I gave, obviously the higher you go, the higher the bar, but we need to start from very young elementary level of employment. So maybe that wife joke is no more appropriate in this current situation. Sharif did not openly reject. Jasmine is not to blame. Don't know that one. Again, if you are face to face, well, we can debate it out. See, the main problem with Jasmine and Sharif is a power relationship. In a power relationship, even both are interested, still probably it is a no-no. Say, for example, a relationship between the doctor and a patient, because the patient cannot say relationship between the professor and the student, a relationship between the boss and the same thing, manager and his employee. And a lot of company has got a rule actually against that, that if you both are in a relationship, if you like each other, dating, it's not allowed because of that. A relationship between a lawyer and his client is always unethical and no for a very reason. If you think that doctor getting related with the patient, then the idea is that patient should get out of the doctor and they go and have private relationship. Or manager and the staff, then the manager staff one will resign and they can have it. So that is sort of but yeah, most of the people is, and good no one selected Aja disrespected C Amanda and made her late. That's probably we are all correct. So all of these are some example of harassment really. When someone is made to feel intimidated or humiliated based on a characteristic they have, like say if you have to like if mostly harassment is big sexual harassment, the way to test sexual harassment is you just imagine and change the sex of the person or gender of the person and see whether it would happen. In terms of Sharif and Jasmine, if Sharif was a female, maybe it would not happen. So that is sexual harassment. Racial harassment would be the one that Amanda said, the a person with turban has no brain. So actually she is harassing a Sikh person who had turban. Body shape, sometimes we make fun about fat people, that is not right. Now, interestingly, in terms of harassment, many a time the defense is, I didn't really mean it. It was just all consensual. Everything will be fine. I didn't mean it. But that is actually not a correct defense, because it is not what up to when you are the person who is committing it. It's up to the person who is receiving it to decide it is harmful or not, or is offensive or not. For example, that kiss that I've shown in FIFA World Cup, what's his name? Rubiales, the FIFA president, kissed Jenny Hermoso. Why did it happen? You can see the full picture on the stage. Is a bit grainy. Everybody was excited. He is excited. He is happy. Obviously, you won the World Cup. And in that day, in that stadium, in Sydney Stadium, over there, 75,784 people were there. They all are watching. And in this picture, whether you may not see on the left, most left is actually Queen of Spain. And the female next to it is a Princess of Spain. And then obviously he's the president of Spanish football. On the right, if I'm not wrong, that was probably Governor General of Australia. All the big people are there and everybody ecstatic and all these things. So he's jumping. When he was saying that, yes, sir, there is no ill intention and we are quite happy, excited. You know how the case dropped? After 21 days, he need to resign. When Jenny Hermoso, that the picture, Jenny Hermoso said, I was uncomfortable about that kiss. It was not consensual. The moment she said that, whole thing collapsed. And then Rubiales need to resign. So it is not up to what you think. It is up to actually the receiver, what the receiver thinks. Let me see my time. It is third and probably, last case study. Daisy is a colleague of Sharif. Now going back to Sharif and Jasmine case. Jasmine reports Daisy, Daisy reports Jasmine's behavior. The bank, that is the place that they were working, sends Jasmine to mandatory sexual harassment training. Jasmine is angry. She starts a gossip that Daisy is moving with Sharif. Jasmine mocks her as Dobber Daisy. Jasmine withholds information from her. Daisy is marked as untrustworthy and removed from sensitive high-value projects. So what's happening here? Since Daisy was helping Sharif, Jasmine is angry now. She's revenging, right? Now another one example. Jacob comes to work at 9:15 a.m. after dropping his son to school. Company rule needs all staff to start 8:30 a.m. and finishes 4:30 p.m. However, many staff start and finish late without issues. Jacob receives a strong letter on breaching the company rule. 1 month ago, Jacob successfully stopped managers from ringing staff on Sundays, which made management unhappy. Can you see what is happening there? Because management is unhappy now, they're taking on Jacob, right? But if you look at it, it is correct. Jacob should come actually by 8:30. Am I right? Okay, let's see what's happening here. Let's see again. We will look at this Slido. A company was correct to warn Jacob for coming late. If you think that that is the one, please select that. Company is punishing Jacob and is wrong. If you think that's right, please select that. Daisy is wrong by getting involved between Sharif and Jasmine, because it is their matter why Daisy is third person trying to get in there. And company should have policy to protect Daisy for reporting. 3 people, yes, did bit more. We're running out of time. It is very true. The company should have policy to protect Daisy for reporting. So what that policy is, I'll come in my next slide. And is also correct. Company is punishing Jacob and is wrong because they found because Jacob was a straight talker. Now, number 8, company was correct to warn Jacob for coming late. This part is interesting. Do you remember when I went to one of the slides, I said selective application of law is also discrimination. So it is actually discrimination because since company did not send letter to everyone, they only sent to Jacob and they allow everyone to come late or flexibly, then actually it is wrong. So victimization is what is this? We are almost towards the end. Unfair treatment of a person because they have complained about workplace treatment, which you have seen the last 2 examples is that. So what happened if the victimization, if the reporter is not protected within the workplace, then no one will talk. Everyone will be quiet, right? Nothing will happen. Like in that case, like Daisy came to help Sharif. But if there is no help there, then what? There's sort of unacceptable behavior would continue, right? There is no way it can correct because there is no policy and environment. So that is called victimization. So we know now what are those 4 attributes. Now let's go how respectful workplace is built. Now we know all these things, then okay, good, then what to do? Does it happen magically? No. Or what do we do? What we could be done? One of the thing is it is task for both employee and employer. It is actually a responsibility of both sides. It's not only company responsibility to protect you as a person, also your responsibility to be respectful towards others and to your colleagues. Let's start with individual responsibility. Know your own blind spots and biases. See, some of the examples I have given you, like about the forwarding a joke and all these examples, sometimes maybe we do ourselves. So first, know your own blind spot, because as I said, our thinking and values, everything, we grow over time when the way we have grown up. That's why I asked the first question, where have you done your undergraduate degree? So you have to know your own biases and blind spots. Number 2 is know what is bullying, discrimination, harassment, and victimization. See, this 4, unless we know what is what, like victimization, you can know at the end. And interesting, the selective application of law, all these things. If you know these things, then you can see yourself that are you doing that thing, or is anyone under your team doing that you can at least you control your own team. And third one is play your role and uphold respect at your level. It depends on what level you are. The higher you are, the more important it is on you to do that. Say, for example, if you are the higher, then so you make sure that you do it at your level. Now come to employer. A task for employer, corporate readiness. Employer as an organization, you need to be ready to have a respectful environment. How to be ready? Every corporate environment or agency or department or whatever workplace, I'd say, should have explicit value statement, code of conduct, and principles. So you need to know what it is exactly you need to follow, because it's very clearly into written. So employer know that is acceptable, that is not. Number 2nd law, I read visible commitment from leadership at every level. There need to be a commitment. Like, see the example, Amanda. If she is not respectful, she is yelling at someone on turban and you're making me late and you're dumb. If she does that, the people below also will do the same thing, because there is no example and they know that that is acceptable to behave like that. So that needs to be at every level. And obviously, the higher you go, the more sensitive it is. You can see that the president of Tokyo Olympic have to resign. You can see the example of president of Spanish football had to resign. And all this example I gave you, so higher it is more expectation out of it. Now that need a mandatory staff training on respectful workplace. The thing that I'm doing right now is a very quick condensed one, but there need to be a mandatory training for staff. So everybody knows those 4 attributes and how to look after against that. And there need to be complaint handling procedure and corrective measures. But after doing all these things, still things will happen at the workplace. Still the breaches will happen. Then there need to be some procedures to handle it. If it happens, how you handle it. Someone complain it, what do you do? For in case of that World Bank example, Jasmine was sent to sexual harassment training, right? So there was probably some procedure there. However, I feel that probably they lacked the procedure against victimization. That's why she came and started victimizing Daisy. Now, how you are faring? Are you a good, respectful workplace, or everybody think that their place is very good? Everybody think that their home is very good, but there need to be some objective measure. For that, in the data collection annual staff survey to know that. After doing all these things, still you need some expertise or in-house to identify weaknesses and what to do about it. There are some cases which are very complex and very highly sensitive thing, but need to be people who knows how to do that, how to handle those cases. So you need to have those within the organization, or at least you know this person to ring. It is like this: if you are an agency, and you may have some doctor that assigns the agency, then you know that if something goes wrong, the staff we can send to that doctor. Those sort of things. In terms of psychologists, you need that. So in short, so we learned 3 things: why, what, and how. Why it is important. Which we probably, I don't need to repeat that maybe, but we all know that's why you are here. What are the attributes of respectful workplace, which is no bullying, discrimination, harassment, and victimization, and how we can achieve that? It is a task for both employer and employee. It is no single person can do that. Everybody needs to be together on that. Now we are on the last slide, or second last. My slides are finished. Just let's have some discussion on this. Write 2 ideas that you find new or interesting today. So, or even if you think that, no, I didn't agree to that, that's probably Jasmine's fault. Maybe you can write that, and at least we know that how it is going. So, 1 or 2 ideas that you think or think that you want to share with people, please let's write. Then we are going to Q&A maybe next to that. No, that's right. Thank you for that. Yes, I spend a lot of time to do some case study writing. Otherwise, sometimes it doesn't make sense or clear. So that's true. That is true. It is true there are differences. For example, in Australia, we are not allowed to discriminate based on sexuality. If someone claims to be a gay, homosexual, we cannot say no to that person to a job. But in some countries, other way around, actually, homosexuality is not allowed. And so but that is true. Geographical origin and cultural, there will be differences here. In some country, probably if you're elderly, maybe you're allowed to probably talk louder. But again, now slowly world is coming narrower, and then these differences are going away. Keep going. Anyone else everyone is thinking about it. So look, I think my next slide will take you to, okay, there are a number of questions there. I think that was my last slide. Dr. Zakir, if you want to come in and conduct the Q&A session.
Thank you very much,
Yes.
Dr. Shadab. So dear participants, I think it is time we can keep shooting our question and queries. I can see we have already a couple of them, but we like to have more.
Okay, well, those are coming. Maybe let's see the first one: how to handle colleagues who does not want to be called out for their mistakes, which becomes intimidating to others.
Yes, I think we can jump straight to the questions and queries. Yeah, maybe
Thank you.
the first one.
And some of this question, if matches you, probably can do thumbs up. So I know that more people wanted to know the answer of that question. Look, this is where the organizational readiness or corporate readiness comes. Every agency needs to have some sort of system in place to handle this, right? Now, normal procedure is, which is most effective but most difficult one, is to directly communicate with the person. Sometimes person doesn't know that all the jokes he's sending is thing very funny and etc. But no one is thinking is funny. Everybody's getting a bit uneasy about it. Go and talk to him directly. That is most effective, but most difficult because no one likes to do that. Second is then you have to then talk to that person's supervisor, manager or something, and that manager need to have a training how to handle it. Again, it depends on the agency. If agency need to have this system. Sometimes that's not easy either because that manager maybe that both are enjoying the same job. In that case, there need to be a section within human resources of the organization to handle this thing independently. And if needs to be, if it's a very serious case of sexual harassment, sometimes touching and those sorts of things, then it goes over higher. So these are the things it's called local resolution, and then resolution within the team, and third is actually HR level. But again, there need to be a system within the agency to do that. This is very true. Complaint handling procedure and corrective measures, but it is another big topic, and it's quite theoretical topic. And as I said, there are 3 steps and number of issues there. Someone from Philippines probably wanted to know about it. Maybe some other days. Yes, there are, but documents on the internet on that. And those who are specialized in human resources management, they probably would know that. How do you ensure that the management and supervisors are also required to attend training? Again, this is all coming back to, again, organization, really. If you're just a small employee, you cannot do that. But it is up to that's why probably would be good. Those who are managers today in this session, those who are in leadership role, please take it back that, yes, we need this thing. This session doesn't take very long, half a day or less than that. But we need that for them to know that. So we can only ensure by asking such a policy within organization. Somehow I cannot. My mouse is.
I'm bringing the question up. So there is.
In case people think unequal doing is ordinary issue in society, how to alert them, and that is not right. All of these things are going back to, again, the training. Really, first you need to have your own understanding. The way I do is I look after my team, 10, 20 people within my team, and I make sure that what I do is right. And first, before that also, you need to train yourself, educate yourself also, all those little sensitivity and why someone is missing out. Here, the example I said, Lakshmi is vegetarian. Chances are Lakshmi probably would not ever say to you that she's vegetarian. She simply will say that I'm not hungry, I'll not go to lunch. It could be that. Then you will never know. Actually, she's not going to lunch because she knows that only chicken curry will be served there. So some of these we need to be aware ourselves and aware that actually it is not equal outcome. It is equal outcome, not equal treatment here. What happened? Have I lost it?
Dr. Shahadat, I think we just checked the Q&A box.
Okay. Yeah. If you please read out from that, what I do, I stop sharing, then you can read out from the Q&A box, please. Yeah.
So the Q&A box have 2 questions. Probably already I have answered, but let me just repeat it. So the first question is how to handle colleagues who doesn't want to be called out for their mistakes, which becomes intimidating to others.
As I have answered that, there are 3 ways of doing it. Usually there are resolutions and corrective actions. Local resolution, or direct resolution, which just you have to assertive, and that's another course itself, how to be assertive, and take it up to that person. Chances are that person probably even doesn't know. He thinks it is very funny or whatever he's doing is right. Second is you have to go to the direct manager of that person, who is managing, and it's a responsibility of that manager actually to control his own team. And third, if that has become much more complex or even complex for manager to handle, sometimes some issues are quite serious. In that case, probably human resources need to get involved, and within human resources there need to be expertise who knows how to handle and discuss these things. And sometimes it goes to the level that if everything failing, then you need to actually look at the company values and code of conducts and those things. Is this written clearly? If it's not written clearly, sometimes it's difficult to catch that person, because then it becomes your word versus my word. Why you think it's offensive? It is not. Those sort of things. And even company law also, if it doesn't cover it, then you need to go to the law of the country that you are in. Sometimes law in the country is more liberal. The company law is much more detailed. But as I said, those sort of steps we need to escalate here.
Excellent. Thank you very much. So the second question probably we have also answered, but let me repeat it again. Guidance on complaint handling procedure and corrective measures would be much appreciated. Perhaps this could be for another discussion. I think we have already discussed about it, correct?
Yes, yeah.
Next question is, in a reputable organization, which factor makes it a successful organization? The first question. The second question is work environment and employer benefits, or both? So I think
Okay,
the question is, which factor makes it a successful organization, and work environment and employer benefit?
this was actually one of my, I think, second or third slide that I gave. There's an example where the Forbes magazine was saying actually both. They're saying that work environment, which is respect, and employer benefit is a compensation, health benefit, and these two things. Actually, they put a third one is work-life balance, which means obviously if we want someone to work from 7 o'clock morning to 10 o'clock night every day, probably they'll not stay. But both, yes.
So the third point you mentioned is work-life balance, correct?
Work-life balance, yes.
So work environment,
that is also,
employer benefit, and the work-life balance.
yeah. And work environment is what we're talking, respectful workplace, right? Yeah.
The next question is, in case people think unequal doing is the ordinary issue in social, how to alert them that is not right?
As I said, I answered that question that we need to be aware of ourselves, that what is equal treatment and what is discriminatory treatment, yes.
I think I see the last question is, how do you deal with concepts of saving face and its impact on the workplace?
Okay, you're saving whose face? Got to remember that. And coming as a whose cost, right? So sometime, say for example, going back to that example of that incident in World Cup final, right, where the President Rubiales, the FIFA president, right? Not FIFA, means the Spanish FIFA president, kissed Jenny Hermoso for a second, right? To save face, you can always go and pressure Jenny. Jenny, you just say that it's fine, right? But what happened there, then this sort of environment will continue. So I feel that saving face is really not a good strategy. It saves the face of a one person or an organization for only one time, but the problem continues. This is like a disease. You are just putting just a paracetamol or Panadol for one day, but the disease continues. So what happened? Yes, Rubiales is gone, and Jenny Hermoso made her statement. Yes, he lost his way because he is actually vice president of European football. European football is very big in terms of money and everything. He lost that, but that is his personal loss. Yes, he may think it's unfair because he was really excited. We all saw that there's no ill intention. However, we are setting a benchmark. Now, Spanish football has set a benchmark that not only Spanish football, all other football association is watching. Plus all the organizations and everybody watching, all the young people watching. So cost is much less than the benefit of that. So saving face may not be a right one. A lot of companies, they do that. They're trying to save face. If you remember that CBS example I gave, less more that there was a sexual harassment allegation in my second slide. And what happened? They tried to hide it. And finally, when it went out, then the court ordered them to pay $28 million to the shareholders because they were hiding something very risky, because out of that court case, the company may lose a lot of money. So as a shareholder need to be notified. But to save face, they're hiding the whole thing.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shahadot. I think I don't see any other questions. Okay, I think that brings to the end of this session. So I think just in one sentence, I like to actually conclude this Q&A session that personally it was very, very insightful and useful for all of us. And specifically the two things, I haven't written actually my key takeaways, the two things that I personally liked, and you have mentioned very clearly, that the individual responsibility versus corporate readiness, these are the two important things perhaps we all need to take as the key takeaways, and whether it is as an individual employee who can actually take his responsibility or set his responsibility for a respectful workplace, and at the same time, an institution like AIT or any institution or organization can actually set their readiness, which can actually equally play a big role for any respectable workplace. I think with that, I'm trying to see whether the comments or questions are coming again or not. Okay, it's all about gratitudes and thanks to you, basically. So with that, I think I like to convey our gratitude to our speaker. First of all, thank you very, very much, Dr. Shahadat Choudhury. It has been again another very insightful presentation and a very useful presentation and talk for all of us. We really look forward to have more topics and more talks from you. Definitely, we understand there will be more in future. We know that you are coming to AIT in person, probably around the end of November. We will probably plan for another talk, maybe a face-to-face talk from AIT, and then we'll try to make it hybrid so that the online participants can also be attend during that time. So we'll be working with you and plan for that. I think with that, let me also thanks to all of my colleagues who have actually contributed for organizing this event from the very beginning, starting from the registration process, making the flyers, banners, and all the information documents that we have actually produced. So thank you very, very much, all my colleagues. And of course, our sincere gratitude to all of our respected participants who have joined this webinar. I think you know that AIT Extension is periodically or very often arranging this kind of free online learning sessions on different topics in a month, at least in 2 times. I think our next webinar is coming on 31st of October, which is on actually storytelling. So you can actually attend that, or you can go and register for that. And you can also keep an eye to our website and all of our social media page for AIT Extension to actually look forward to the exciting events and exciting activities that AIT Extension actually taking forward. With that, I think this is the time to thank you once again to all of you. Have a good afternoon, good evening, and good morning to all of you. So
thank you very much.
Thank you. And Dr. Shahadat, we will catch you on Thursday again.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.